What's up guys, ZiSotto here, and today we're taking a look at the skins for patch 5.23, the Godslayer update that also comes with a free Kuzenbo skin. As usual, I'm just kind of going over the skins and giving my opinion in a bit of a quicker format compared to the patch notes, and also give you a front view of the gods. I don't want to take away from Elu here, so his link will be down below. I'm pretty sure he'll be uploading the in-depth god skin showcases for every single god soon. And with that, let's jump into it. The first one here is Jingle Shells Kuzenbo. Now this skin you actually get for free if you just play a game on the next patch. Considering the state of the client at the moment, that's gonna be a bit annoying to do in the first place, but oh well. Alright, let's start with his basic attacks. These should not be changed from the default. And we can look at the not first ability first. And let's look at the second ability. Yep, we got actually, that has a bit of a different effect. It's a bit of like an icy effect to the spikes. I didn't know that. And then we'll look at the ultimate here. Actually, can't tell if that's any different, if there's any snow flying up or not. And now we can use the one. Now I have to find the Kappa. It's somewhere over here. He looks pretty cool. Nice little snowball. And then it faints into a snowball. And last but not least, we can have a quick look at the 3 here. Also, nothing changed there. Here we have a Kuzenbo's view from the back. First, a little thing that I noticed is that he actually has this snow animation when jumping. Outside of the normal jump stamp, he basically has a bonus jump stamp that is snow under every single one of his jumps, which I think looks really, really cool. I really like that. So there's a lot of attention to detail with this skin. You can see the same thing when you're walking, apparently sometimes. Seems like some of the steps seem to get up some snow here in between the normal steps, which I think is also really cool. And the snow animation kind of continues throughout. I think the basic attacks don't really have anything here. The one we've already talked about, this is obviously still snowball. But if you look very closely at the spikes here, then you see some snow coming from the side and it kind of popping off afterwards as well. So it's basically more like ice than its normal shell spikes, which I think, again, is a really cool effect. And even though it's very subtle, especially for this being a free skin, it's really cool. 3 also has a bit of an ice trail, I think that is. And even the ultimate, I think, is slightly altered in terms of the amount of effects that on it. The voice pack is the same as normal, and there's no special effect or anything, but again, it's a completely free skin. And I absolutely love it. I honestly think, everything considered, this may be my favorite Kuzenbo skin so far. Here we have Duel Tech Hel. Now this is a tech skin obviously with a dark stance and a light stance variation that are both kind of different robots. This one is kind of close to the Nemesis skin, just a little bit darker. And then we'll have the light stance afterwards. Let's start with the basic attack. That animation is actually pretty cool already. And then the 1. We'll look at that from the other side later, and it's gonna look pretty cool. And the 2 on the ground. There you go. Also some cool effects there. And the 3.
Crushing burst.
I'm not quite sure if that was actually any different, but we'll see. We'll switch to the light stance now.
What have I missed?
Basic attacks in this stance. I think they're kind of this. No, they're a little bit different. A little more blue here. And the 1. And the 2. And the 3. Now it's Duel Tech Hel from the back. We're going to start with the dark stance once again. This skin is not completely finished because the switching sound at least is still the default one. So that's going to happen in the future. But I think the voice pack is there already. So these are the basic attacks, which I think look so cool. This like long projectile trail. It just kind of disappears in walls, unfortunately. And the 1, similarly cool effect here. This massive orb. Even the 2 has a very satisfying sound to me. I really like that as well.
Crushing burst.
The 3 almost doesn't fit in terms of its color style. I'm not quite sure if this is intended or if this is maybe just wrong in terms of color. And then we have the light stance. Slightly different basics, I think. Let's switch around here. Yep.
What have I missed?
Not even just the color, but also the shape. You can see that this is like some sort of, I don't know, it almost looks like a hand. This is just a smaller projectile.
I'll save us.
absolutely cool effect on the 1 here.
Bless you.
2.
Restore.
And the 3, and look at the ground with the 3 here. That is such a cool effect in my opinion. I think this is the coolest part of the skin almost. But I generally think the animations work very, very well for her.
Woohoo! You are exceptional. Magnificent. I am operating efficiently.
We will fragment you to dust. To calculate the radius of your parental figure, I need approximately 12.3 million years. Shall I begin?
It seems like the jokes are only dark
Why did the
skinned.
mech cross the road?
Because a programmer decided that was the best course of action.
Woohoo!
I'm back! My systems are unmatched. You exceed my expected parameters. Amazing.
So that's the voice pick. Not too bad, not too great in my opinion. But I wanted to see this effect here, which I think looks super cool. It's just something so simple, but I don't know. I just really like the way this orb comes back. Obviously got the other effect here as well. Some sort of glowing effect when you hit an ally, and he also gets that circle under them. So that must look really cool if you have a whole team running forward with this effect. So quite a few gimmicks in terms of the visuals, which make the skin, in my opinion, a lot cooler than the Wrench Tech skin, where the effects are there but don't really shine nearly as much. This is Kitty Kaboom Serqet, kind of a punk cat skin for Serqet. Yes, Serqet and not Bastet. And a kind of cool detail here is that if you look at the leg, I can show it right here, it actually has like a Kaboom signature on there. And I'm sure some of you will be very happy about that legs as well. With that, let's look at the abilities. We'll start with the 1, ideally in place here. We'll have some cool effects on that I can show you later. But for now, let's use the 2. And the 3. I'm not even sure. Yeah, I guess like a little bit of a special effect, but not too crazy. And then the ultimate we will just see from the back later on, because obviously can't just jump the air here. Also our basics, also pretty much like the standard animations, nothing crazy there. So with the Kitty Kaboom Serqet skin, we're starting on this side because I wanted to show you something about the animations. These are the basic attacks, very simple here. But what I want to show you is the 1. Now the 1 technically confirms to you if you hit it. There's one downside here though that I'll talk about in a second. So you'll see it here. You see a text animation for every time you hit the 1. The unfortunate thing is that there's sometimes a glitch animation where the text box actually doesn't show up. It kind of would make you feel, ah, here we got it, like you missed one when you actually hit all 3, and just does this quick pop-up animation without actually showing any text. But generally, I think this is nice to see if you can confirm your 1 reliably, or if your aim is maybe a bit off. And yeah, it gives you some decent practice in that regard. Here you can see like just going through 2 targets, for example. And the 2 is not drastically changed here. Like a little bit of a difference in the effects, but not really too crazy. The 3 also slight changes, and then you have this drop down effect and the ultimate, kind of like usual. And then you have this kitty logo for the poison, and obviously you also have the effect for the 3 poisons as usual. I think this is generally a cool skin, and we can also look at the voice pack a little bit here.
You're rocking it. I guess you're cool.
It has this typical, like, you know, edgy.
You're rocking it. Meow. I keep it rocking.
And a lot of rock references, apparently. I don't know if I like the voice pack that much. I think it's always a bit over the top in this regard. But overall, I think this is definitely one of the cooler skins this patch. Even though there are a lot of cool skins, actually. Here we have Battle Queen Hera. And we already see her in a special where Argus' hand is holding her up. Holding the scepter. Whereas now... Well, for a second we had a normal stance and now we're back in the special. Let's begin with her basic attack. And then we can use the 1 here. And the 2. And the 3. I think there's a slight difference in effect with the 3. And then we'll drop down Argus and have a look at that as well.
Argus, to my side.
Oh, a little bit glitched, but it'll work. And a 3 with the Argus. So you see his effect. That's not too different here. With Duel Tech Hera, again, I think she's got a bit of a tier 2 vibe. I suppose the fact that she has this special emote to walk around with with a nice little glowing effect as well, is kind of compensating for that a little bit, along with the changed voice pack and the fact that they also had to change the skin for Argus. But I'm still not quite sure if I'm really happy with it as a late stage Odyssey reward. Basics look a little bit different. One looks a little bit different, a little bit more thundery, I suppose. Two, a little bit more electric as well. Like basically the whole skin and all of its effects are kind of like charged. On the 3, again, I'm not even sure. I think it has like a different glow to it. It's not like not as blue as normally, but a little bit more yellow. And then obviously we have Argus coming out of the portal, looking a bit more like a peacock apparently. That's the theme at least. And here we have the effect along with that. Nothing really changed here, I think. So I think it's a cool skin, and I like the additions that they did, but at the same time, I'm not really sure if I think it's like worth the effort to just get the skin unless you're actually going for the HUD or the Ares skin anyways. Voice pack wise, we have got this.
Awesome. You are worthy. I rule above all others. Who is the perfect husband? One that keeps his mouth shut and out of my way.
I think this is the default voice actress, I'm pretty sure. Just some different lines, I suppose, at some point. I'm not even sure how different the lines really are, though. So, yeah. Here we have Shadow Stalker Izanami, along with, at the back, Bakasura, so we can have some comparison there as well. And we will start with her basic attacks. And her 1. So actually a pretty cool glowing effect there. And then her 2. And her 3. And her ultimate. And now I'll just put them next to each other here just to show you how similar or not similar the models are. What you can see is that Bakasura has obviously a very different body type. He's a lot wider here, whereas Aposh would probably be a bit closer there. Color-wise, they have ever so slight nuances, I would say. Bakasura is a little bit more cyan, and Izanami is a little bit more light blue. But it is overall very similar in the color palette, I would say. And yeah, I still think if you have a lot of them on a team, especially if they release more of those skins, it's going to get somewhat messy. Look at Izanami's abilities from the back. Her basic attacks, obviously still the default, but I like the color scheme here. I think it kind of adds to it. It kind of makes it more visible than some other skins that she had. And she actually has a lot of skins for a not that old god in comparison. And especially becomes cool with the 1, because the glowing hands that she has, like all this glow going on, makes it look really, really cool in my opinion. The 2 is a bit darker in comparison. I feel like the spirit kind of works better than her normal spirit because it looks somewhat closer to her actual model right now. I'm not sure if the 3 is the finished effect because it's kind of odd that it would have the blood effect here. But it might just be on accident. I'm not sure. Well, she still has some red trails as well, so maybe it's intended. And some red effects on her hand apparently as well, so I guess that is planned.
Splendid! I am such a delight. You are delectable. Oh, did you expect to live past today? No, no, no.
The voice pack here goes very much in line with the skin, and I like it. I think it fits, and it works. Much like with the other 2. No complaints there, but at the same time, it's getting a bit generic at this point, I suppose. Next on the list is Count Baron Samedi, the double title, the Count Baron. This one is obviously vampire themed, and we'll start with his basic attacks, where I think we can kind of see the bats flying around in them. And then we will use the 1 here. Ta-da! More of a red theme. Can we see that again in a second? Also use the 2 here first. Awesome bats. And the 3. As well as the ultimate.
Quick, get out of the sun.
And we go back to the 1 more time. You see those little bats on the side there that shoot the projectiles instead. closer look at Count Baron Samedi's animations here. I think it's actually a bat in this one here, in the basic attack. Projectile. It's like a little group of bats actually that fly forward. That's pretty cool. I'm not sure why it's doubled the effect there. I guess that was just a glitch. But you can see your typical bats here. Effect of the two also just slightly different. If you hit this on an enemy, it's just a green healing, by the way. It's no blood healing coming to you or something. I like the way it looks though.
To turn again, first you must die.
And with some of these abilities, we actually want to look at them with enemies as well. The voice pack here, unfortunately, as you can tell,
Horrific! I am become death, destroyer of worlds.
it's actually the one from his other skin and not anything new or anything changed yet. That will happen, I guess, before the live client. Here you can see the heal is literally just green. This is just like a chain instead. I don't know if I like that part that much, but oh well, it's just whatever.
Quick, get out of the sun.
I think it's overall a decent skin, but I still like the normal Samedi skins better than this one. I think it's just, you know, decent after all, and when you already have such good skins on a character, then it just stays decent. At long last, this is Stitched Horror Zhong Kui. This one highly requested by the community, a Zhong skin. And with that, let's go right to his abilities and his basic attacks first. See the ghost attacking here at the same time as Zhong Kui is. And his 1. His 2. His 3. And the ultimate. And that right there is his special mode. Flying on his, well, I guess it's a broom in a way now. More or less. Actually kind of cool that you can activate it during the ultimate as well. Bit of a fun feature, but I'm not sure if that would work in combat. And here we have him. Oogie Boogie from the back. The new Zhong Kui skin. Let's begin with the basics. I like how the animations between him and the ghost are a little different. But his animations almost look like the normal animations for Zhong Kui, and I'm not quite sure if they really fit with the rest of the style of this skin. I'd rather seen like something a little bit more cyan, I guess. The new ghosts are pretty cool, I like that. Kind of cute, not as demonic as normally, but it's really funny ghosts instead. Nothing else special there. And then obviously we got it seems like the voice line here is not changed yet. That sounded like the default voice line. But I think the voice pack should be.
Ooh, frightful. Ooh. Adults fear me. You are scary. Ooh, frightful. It'll be fun ripping your spirit from your body.
The voice pack is definitely nice. And this effect, I think, is pretty cool as well. I like being able to fly around on that broom. I think it's a cool skin overall, but again, I think there was more potential here, especially with the ultimate. With his head being a sack, you could just have an effect where his head like opens up and the demons come out of his head instead. And I guess they didn't really want to go the extra mile, which I think would have been deserving for the skin considering how long it took to get a Zhong Kui skin. But then again, not a bad skin either way. Last but not least, we have the Ares tier 5, the Godslayer skin. This is his first form. We're going to look at the other ones afterwards as well. And this is just his base normal form. Let's look at the basic attacks. And then the 1. Very light shackles here. And the 2.
Follow me or perish.
I'm actually not sure if that effect is what it's supposed to be happening on rank 1 because it's kind of red. I thought it was going to be my blue, but I don't know. And the 3. And then the ultimate.
You shall have
There's a pretty cool, unique animation here. Now we're gonna look at his other stages by cycling through the VXG until we get to the level 20 stage. You can use any stage at any point. This is his second stage here, third stage, and the final form. This one has quite a few changes. You can actually, he's a lot taller, you can see that because the health bar kind of floats through his face, unfortunately. If you can even call that a face, because it's kind of just a helmet with a glowing thing in front of it. But let's look at the abilities in this stage. First of all, the basic attack. A little bit of a fire effect there with the sword. Then the 1. The 2. The 3. And the one that really changed, the ultimate.
Run away, little gods.
And here we have the back view of the Ares skin, and there's some interesting things about this that I figured out while testing this. So basically, not all the animations reset when you go back to another stage from level 20, so we're gonna go through them while leveling up in between instead. So what you can see is the 1, the chain is the same as we saw before. It's just this bright spiky stain at the first stage. But the 2, for example, is actually a blue glow, like some electric effects, and not actually a red glow, unless you level back on level 20. And the 3 especially is a very, very different flame here as well. I really like the wings on this one as well, by the way. And we're gonna listen to the voice pack of all the skins as we level up individually as well.
Awesome. I am the god of gods. You are exceptional.
Now for the animations of stage 2. Kind of like the darker chains here. I think these don't actually change too much through the later stages. And we already have the red effect here as well. And our flames are not that black. I think they go more black later, but at least more like flames.
You shall have a glorious end.
That's actually cool. I like the secondary voice from the shield here being all dark and telling you that there's really no escape.
You are exceptional. I am the god of gods. Awesome. So sorry.
These lines will change over time, so I'm actually gonna add this one here, the sorry line. And stage number 3. I'm not actually sure if there are any differences on this one. I think these black rings around him here are a little bit bigger. I think the... Yep, I think the shield is starting to talk a lot more in this one, so you can hear the shield talking during the abilities, which is actually a lot of talk going on, as you can tell. Like, even like me just using the kit one after each other, it was constantly talking, basically.
Awesome.
You can hear our Ares voice is also starting to change. It's a bit of a filter on it.
You are exceptional. I am the god of gods. So sorry.
And now for the grand final, Floaty Ares.
I bind you to my...
It seems like these chains are glitched. They actually look like the stage 1 chains once again. I'm not quite sure how that happened. That, on the other hand, is definitely the latest stage of the animation. You can actually see that it's a little bit different here. It has the smoke effects on the 2 as well, that one doesn't have. Oh, and I broke it. Actually, maybe the flames don't change that much. But the ult definitely does. That has an entirely different animation for the skin. And the voice pack is also vastly different now.
I am the ruler of all.
No longer the god of war.
This pleases me. I will not apologize. I am sorry.
That one's my favorite. I love the fact that like the secondary voice just apologizes for what he's done wrong. And obviously, we have the VXG here as well, which allows you to switch through all the stances at any point and then just stop at whatever stance you want by just walking forward a little bit. And it automatically stops when you get to the last stance, it seems. You can actually not use VXG again to stop it. You have to actively walk, and then I could stop at this one, for example. So, pretty cool effects overall. And yep, checking again. Oh, this actually has a little bit of dark smoke as well. I think this is a cool skin. I'm probably not going to get it because it's just pretty expensive to get, and I don't really play Ares. But I think for those who really enjoy playing Ares, this is definitely a nice one. Although he also has a lot of other nice skins, so you're not going to end up without anything to play with, even if you don't get this. And that was the last skin overview here at this probably pretty long skin showcase, regardless of me trying to cut it as short as I could while getting all the information in. With that, thank you guys very much for watching. If you're new to the channel, feel free to stop by the bell, it really helps me out. And other than that, see you for the next one tomorrow, or maybe for later, actually, because I might finally be able to release that Smash video. DukeSloth, out.